Dear respected friends, distinguished panelists from various fields of life, I am thankful to Dr. Sambaya Garu for inviting me to share some of my ideas on this very important topic of caste and personality. Without taking much time as to the kind of introduction to what I wanted to say, I would like to straight away go into the basic ideas that I have on this subject. As you all know, the caste system has a painful endurance and has shown a remarkable resilience to modify itself, to adapt itself to the changing circumstances and even what the Marxists call the modes of production. Though it has to be essentially seen as a reflection of the cultural logic of feudalism, as I call it, it has also been found to be a kind of unholy partner by capitalism and subsequent forms of democratically elected forms of governance in this country. Of course, every cultural logic of stratification, divisioning of the society, the people, so that they can be ruled forever, has always got its support from the religion. Whether that religion in itself justifies it or not is a different matter, but the truth is that the historical evidence that is available to us clearly indicates that a religion has always been used as a handmaiden, as a hitman by the economic system or the power system to sustain that inequity of powers between those ruling elites and the vast majority of the people who are being ruled. In that sense, the justifications given to any form of oppressive regime, any form of oppressive regime by the religious systems of that particular time and space gives us a clue as to how the ruling class always takes upon what Althusser calls the ideological apparatus to repress, suppress, and oppress the vast majority and even push them down to the level of unconsciousness or the critical unconsciousness so that they can't even know that they are made mechanically into a slave or to obey to the orders of the order of the things that has been imposed by the powers that be or the ruling elite. Now, we have to see the caste system in this country, which is persisting for so long, as essentially a form of power system, a kind of regime. This regime, if you see it as a form of power sharing, a kind of power structuring and power-based destruction of our arrangement or stratification of society between those who are the directors of the labor and those who have been directed to labor, then you will easily understand that it has so many things at one stroke to achieve for itself. It creates an economic system, it creates a power system, it creates two class of people, one who is directing the labor, the other is directed to labor, and the benefits of the labor are being exploited by the directors of the labor, and they justify that exploitation by being in the power system, and that justification is being very much done with the help of the cultural apparatus, media, popular culture, and primarily religion. So if we for the time being set aside the evil designs of a particular religion's contribution to this power system, it has to be stripped off from this religious garb and see how it is an economic and power system, an economic and power order, so that it can be compared with other systems that existed in this world. For instance, the French Revolution, which has overthrown the ancient regime, as they call it, the ancient regime is nothing but it is also a fourfold stratification of the society. And the privileges and the burdens were exactly in the same way in the ascending scale of great privileges and the descending scale of great burden, unbearable burdens and limited access to the resources and things like that. We can see such a kind of system also was there in existence in China and also in Japan. The Shogun Tokugawa government has successfully created an artificial division of society into four groups: the samurais, the merchants, the farmers, like that. And then it imposed dress code, food patterns, dwelling places, spatial segregation, and all such a detailed, innumerable forms of differentiated behavioral and privileges, things like that have been created, and that was ruthlessly imposed on the society. We see that Tokugawa government, the Shogun, was at the top, and such a feudal regime was continuing for more than 250 years. And in France, as Alex Tocqueville himself is so much aghast to see that the Frenchmen who look alike call themselves in different names and in different orders they pick themselves, then he says that it is so strange that all the kettles are calling themselves, all of them are kettles, and they are calling themselves one kettle is greater than the other kettle. So in Indian context also, you have to see that the system of fourfold division, which came up in a later day as a form of dividing the society and ruling by a particular power groups, or it was available as a template for any power group to utilize and stabilize their sustenance and maintenance of power without further risk of being challenged and overthrown. If we see that way, then caste is not merely, as Dr. Ambedkar would be saying, a division of labor or a division of laborers, but it is a division of power. It is a division of power between those who are a power elites and those who have been disempowered. This power discourse, and viewing it as primarily an instrument of power, a mechanism of power, a system of power, is very important, because from this alone the question of personality destruction or personality formation, all that issues come up. When you don't have power to belong to yourself, you lose to be what you wanted to be or what you are. So you don't become a personality when you don't have a power to define what you wanted to be or to pursue to become what that you wanted to be. So personality destruction, personality, mechanical reproduction of the personality in the way that the power elites want you to be, that is where caste becomes not only the destroyer of a personality of the people, but also creates in a mechanical, ruthless manner personalities who are conforming to the system of stratification that it wanted to create in an artificial way. Therefore, if you see, caste system assigns to different groups of people different levels of power and then makes those people to stick to those powers and not to lose the powers against those to whom a lesser amount of power is assigned are left to be grasped. In that way, caste system as a power-centric system is interested mainly to destroy the true personality of both the power elites and those who have been disempowered. As the Latin word persona means masking, and personality means that which you have a hidden, that you are expressing something, positing yourself as someone than what you are. So now, if you see the group psychology of the personality is a function of always a group and given environment. There are a lot of theories regarding whether a personality is made out by biological traits or by nurturing, by training, by cultural and various other such forms of acculturation or enculturation processes. Nurturing, they call nature versus nurture argument is a very age-old argument, and there is no doubt that the influence of environment, the group, the larger society is a group large or a confederation of different groups in the society. So the influence of the society on the making of the personality is tremendous. Now, caste system is actually not good not only for those who are the beneficiaries of the caste system and also for those who are obviously at the receiving end of the caste system. Caste system is not good for those who are in the beneficial side of the system is that firstly it doesn't allow them to explore. They never come in terms with themselves, both psychologically, physically, mentally, socially. They never come to be what they are. They call themselves twice born, but once born, they are never born to themselves. There is no encounter of their own self with themselves. Just because they got a status ascribed to them and sustained by a brutal force of violence and theft and all such kind of frauds, they live in it, in that mask forever without even having an opportunity to look into their own self-worth and make a self-criticism. And thereby they live a mechanical life, perfectly a mechanical life, believing that they were great, that they were, this, they were that, this, like that. Think of the tragedy that one has completed the life and generations of them intergenerationally are completing their life without even coming to terms to themselves as to what they are indeed. And such a self-criticism, self-touching, self-realization never occurs to them. They have become a proxy to themselves. They always live in a proxy life, a proxy self, a proxy idea. They are not able to come out of that mask which they have been given to wear, and it is so convenient to them, and they never ready to face their ugly internal reality, their deficiencies, their inadequacies, their personality disorders. On the other hand, since there is no true personality that is coming forward and interacting with you, the person who has been given the lower scale of power is also faced with a twin task, what W.B. Du Bois was telling. I am split into myself into two selves. The one self which wants to come out, and the other self, the moment it comes out, it will, they get destroyed. So, there is a dual fight in the persons who are on the receiving end of this power system as to how to come to terms with the imposed identity on them. There is a kind of self-awareness. There is a kind of self-struggle. There is a kind of self-consciousness. There is a subconscious fight to come out of this trap that has been thrown on them from this imprisonment of an image. So, organically, there is an enlightening process an enlightening process takes place in the mind of the person who has been left to the last end of the power scale. He questions as to why he is considered as low, ugly, not suitable, not meritorious, not to be associated, not desirable. Why? Why he has been said or she has been said to be so? This question they encounter, and mostly we find in the Indian context that the religious strength that is there in the genetic memory of these who have been thrown to the last end of the power system, to have that religious system, that religious memory of these people who are thrown to the last end of the power system, they get their strength from that religious system or that genetic memory of Buddhism. They know, they get enlightened. Every person becomes enlightened by encountering this, encountering the so-called person who claims to be greater than him. It can be a Brahmin, it can be a Naidu, it can be a Velama, it can be anyone. Anyone who claims to be greater than the other person, while by the encountering process of those who have been thrown out of the power system, they encounter these powers and in their encounter alone, they come to realize their self-worth and they gain their self-confidence. They become personalities. They become the directors of their own labor. They become their own authors of their own success, and they henceforth become rebels, revolutionaries, and have the greatest liberated mind to live life as they want. Even though they cannot overthrow the system, there is a greater awakening in their mind that they are capable, they are now aware of this false Indrajal. They are now aware of this falsity, this net of falsehood, this Brahmajal. They come out of this Brahma. This Brahma means this confusing state of mind, and then this puzzling one, this facade, this labyrinthine, this trap, psychological trap, and they break it and they become awakened. They arise themselves and declare that they are enlightened and they are all Buddhas in that sense. So today, whoever is, be it in the childhood or in many places, when a resistance is offered, that thing is defined. When you give a counter word to anyone, a powerful put down, then you gain your personality. It is not that you are a personality on your own. When you are encountering someone, how do you react to that onslaught of the other person? Then in that encounter process, if you define, if you show what you are and you stand to your own feet and you hold to your own self, then you become a personality. We can say that black woman, that great revolutionary who refused to vacate the bus, that seat of the bus, vacate the seat in the bus, because he said, I am also entitled to be in the seat, because what is the norm? That norm I have complied with. You have to buy the ticket. I have bought the ticket. So therefore, I occupied it rightfully. No question of vacating it. There the personality is formed. By resistance, you reveal your personality. By submission, you lose your personality. And a rational adherence, a rational appreciation, and rational playing of a role is not a personality destruction. Suppose in the office, you are a senior and somebody is a junior. When you are a junior and somebody is a senior, you role play that without compromising your dignity and self-respect. You don't go beyond what is called for in the terms of that relationship in the employee and employer context. Therefore, we have to see how to become personalities by breaking the shell called caste. Every person has to now, like it is like the gays coming out of their closet, the lesbians coming out of their closet, the transgenders coming out of their closet, and bisexuals coming out of their closet, and you call anything. That's why they put plus. So, when you come out of your closet and encounter the other sexes and say, I am also as unique as you. You can't be me, so I can't be you. Therefore, that we cannot be each other itself is the defining speciality of both of us. Hence, a black cannot become a white. If that is the basis for a racial superiority, the same coin is applicable that the white cannot become a black. Therefore, the black superiority is sustained to the level that a white racist wants to say. Therefore, we have to see that this undervaluation of powers and overvaluation of those, all these dubious personality issues actually lead to a personality disorder in a caste-based society, particularly to those who are in the beneficial side of the caste system. They are so insecure. They feel so frustrated. Their tolerance level is low. They adopt all kind of mischievous tactics to see that this privilege is retained by them forever, because it is so easily made available to them. They can enjoy the resources of this society without meeting the rational eligible conditions to have access to those resources. On the other hand, those who are deprived and having a limited access to power, they rationalize. That is why Hegel also says, it is the one who has been thrown out of the power system, one who has not been the master, that guy, he has created the art, aesthetics, the world, everything is the labor of the person who has been, denied the power. And those who are in power, they don't labor, they connive, they conspire. They come up with many funny ideas like the Manu system, the fourfold division of society, the ancient regime. Take it France, take it Japan, take it India, take it China, everywhere this fourfold system was there in a particular period of time in different countries. Therefore, nothing so great about this fourfold system and need not be stitched to the religious things, and much of Hinduism is nothing but it is all a dubbing, a misdeclaration of the paganistic practices and the Buddhist meditative and philosophical traditions. Therefore, if you subtract, if you just take away this thorn, this thorn from the flesh, then the flesh can be healed, and it has altogether different. It is made of altogether different fabric. Therefore, my dear friends, we have to see that personality is made how you are going to encounter the world, and during an encounter, what is your resistance, what is your resilience, that defines what you are. And with that, we proceed further. Once you are, so what I wanted to say, unless you encounter and say that I am this to XYZ, you will never come out of that psychological, that jala, that net that is thrown on you. You cannot be hiding yourself. That Raju, that Mahasramana Buddhamitra is a Madiga is to be told that I should attain my puberty. I should come out of my closet. I should come out of my closet and declare what I am, whether I am a gay, lesbian, whether I am what I am, I should say. Then personality is nothing but I am that I am. This defines the personality. When you are capable of saying, I am that I am, this is what I am, then Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmamsi, all these are nothing but a declaration of your personality. You declare yourself, you don't hide. You face for what you have declared to be that what you are. Then, when you are faced with, when you make a strong statement about yourself, when you assert yourself, when you present yourself, then as Lord Buddha says, the world gets adjusted to you. As long as you are adjusting yourself to the world, you lack personality, you lack an Atma, you are an Anatma. The moment you resist the world, you gain your Atma. So the Anatma theory of Lord Buddha is travel from no self to self. It is not that Buddhism is not having any theory of self. The theory of self of Buddhism is that we are all, like John Locke said, tabula rasa. When we are born, avidya pachaya vijnana. We are born with ignorance, like a tabula rasa. And then we evolve. That state is called anatma state. When you are born, you are not an atma. You don't have any personality. The moment you encounter the society, like Oedipus complex, you go to Sigmund Freud, you go to Jung, you go to Franz Fanon, who is of great relevance to us, to encounter this crisis, because the gaze is from the other side. He wants to get yours. He feels that he is trapped in a white body. His soul, he wants to gaze, even to the extent of sexual gaze, what Fanon says, that this Madhiga's sexual energy is the attraction of non-Madhiga ladies or non-Madhiga guys. Like that we come across, because the other is the absolute necessity for you to define yourself. And how you encounter the other and what kind of relationship you are establishing, that relationship should be not anything that will destroy your freedom, your conscience, your ability to move, your ability to think, and your ability to be yourself. Then when you enter into such an encounter, and that encounter results in a relationship between you and the other, where you know the other and still you have the right to be what you are, then in that moment the relationship becomes no longer a master-slave relationship, no longer becomes a pseudo-personality issues, it becomes actually authenticated relationship. You become an authenticated being, you become a Buddha. This very body, this very mind becomes Buddha. You become enlightened. In that process of enlightenment, you are now fearless, and becoming enlightened, you no longer fear the darkness. Rather, the darkness has been comprehended and it is ended. That's it.